Have you ever wondered why you feel so heavy, even when nothing seems wrong on the surface? Why you wake up some mornings already tired before the day has even begun, as if something invisible is pressing down on your chest? Maybe you think it's stress or lack of sleep, but deep down, you know it's something else, something older, something that has followed you for years like a shadow. You've learned to carry it well. You smile when you're supposed to. You perform strength like it's second nature. But inside you're exhausted from pretending, from always needing to appear composed and unbothered. But here's a truth that most people never stop to consider. The weight you carry might not even be yours. Since the day you were born, you've been absorbing fragments of everyone around you. The expectations of your parents, the disappointments of your teachers, the fears of your culture, the voices that told you what success should look like, what love should feel like, what pain should be hidden. And now, after years of living under these inherited scripts, you've forgotten which thoughts are yours and which were planted inside you. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote that the heaviest burdens we bear are not physical, but moral. They are the expectations of others, disguised as virtues, he called it. The herd morality, the invisible pressure to conform to a life that society deems acceptable. And you've lived under that pressure for so long that you've mistaken it for your own will. You think you're chasing happiness, but what if you're only chasing approval? What if the dreams you call yours are merely echoes of other people's desires that you've internalized without question? And what if that's why, no matter what you achieve, it never feels like enough? Plato said that most people live inside a cave, staring at shadows, believing them to be real. What he meant wasn't just ignorance, but inheritance. We inherit illusions, we inherit fears, and we defend them as if they were sacred truths. You learned to be ashamed of your emotions because someone told you they were too much. You learned to silence your doubts because someone told you uncertainty was weakness, and now you've built an entire identity around those lies. But here's the uncomfortable part. It's easier to stay in the cave than to leave it, because leaving means questioning everything you've been taught. It means realizing that much of your pain doesn't come from life itself, but from the false image of who you think you have to be. You wear masks every day, one for work, one for friends, one for the mirror. And the tragedy is that you've worn them for so long that you no longer remember the face underneath. Carl Jung called this false face the persona. He said, "It's the mask we show the world to survive, but behind it lives the shadow. Everything you've rejected in yourself, every emotion you've buried, every truth you are too afraid to live. The shadow doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. It waits, it whispers, it sabotages. It shows up in your relationships, in your anxieties, in your sudden bursts of anger that you can't explain, and it is the part of you that says, 'I'm tired of pretending.'" The philosopher Dietrich Bonhoeffer once wrote that the ultimate test of freedom is not what you can control, but what you can surrender. Maybe real strength is not in holding everything together, but in letting go of everything that was never yours to hold. Think about it. How much of your suffering comes from trying to meet expectations that no one actually set in stone? How many times have you blamed yourself for failing to be something you never even chose to become? We live in an age of constant performance. We post our happiness. We curate our pain. We sell our identities for validation. The modern world has turned self-expression into self-surveillance. But no one told you that the more you perform, the less you exist. You become a projection, not a person. Machiavelli warned that power built on appearances collapses under truth. And that's not just political, it's personal. You cannot build a peaceful life on lies about who you are. Because eventually, the truth demands to be lived, and that demand often comes in the form of crisis. The breakup, the burnout, the depression, the loss of meaning. These are not punishments. They are messages from the unconscious trying to wake you up, saying enough. Stop carrying what was never yours. Stop mistaking other people's fears for your responsibilities. You were not born to be a mirror of society. You were born to be a flame to burn through illusion and see what remains underneath. But awakening is not pretty. It's not poetic. It's brutal. It's like tearing off a skin that's fused with your identity. It's like watching everything you thought was stable crumble in front of you. And yet, that's where liberation begins. Because as long as you keep protecting the image you were given, you'll never meet the self you were meant to become. Nietzsche called this process the death of God, but he didn't mean religion. He meant the death of the false gods within us, the ideals that once guided us but now imprison us, the belief that we must always be liked, always be right, always be in control. When those false gods die, what's left is terrifying, silence, emptiness, and in that silence your real life begins. You start to see that peace is not the absence of struggle, but the absence of pretending. You start to understand that freedom is not about having no limits, but about knowing which burdens are worth carrying. Maybe the reason you feel lost is because you've never truly been here. You've lived inside roles, scripts, projections, but not in presence. You've been taught to chase meaning out there in success, relationships, recognition, but meaning has been waiting for you inside all along. When you sit in silence long enough, when you stop running from your discomfort, you begin to see that what you called weakness is actually sensitivity. What you called overthinking is introspection. What you called brokenness is the soul's way of saying, "Look at me." And if you dare to look, you'll see that every pain has a story, every fear has a voice, and every voice inside you is simply trying to be heard. Philosophers throughout history have tried to explain what it means to live authentically, but none of them can do it for you. Authenticity is not an idea, it's a confrontation. It's waking up every day and saying, "I refuse to carry what isn't mine anymore." You stop apologizing for being too much. You stop minimizing your feelings. You stop chasing people who only love your mask. And you start asking a different question. Not who do they want me to be, but who am I when no one is watching? That question is the beginning of individuation, the journey Jung spoke of, where you become whole instead of perfect, where you integrate instead of escape. It's not about transcending your humanity. It's about embracing it. Because the truth is, you will never be untouchable, but you can be unshaken when you no longer fear being touched. And maybe that's what freedom really is. Not being above life, but being within it, fully feeling deeply hurting, honestly, and still choosing to stay open. When you finally drop the weight of what isn't yours, something miraculous happens. You don't become lighter, you become real, and real things don't break easily. So tonight, when you feel that familiar heaviness, instead of asking, "How do I make it stop?" ask, "What is it trying to tell me?" Maybe it's not a burden. Maybe it's a message, a call to return home to yourself. Because the truth is, you were never weak. You were just carrying too much of what was never meant for you. If this message reached you, if something inside you stirred, then take a moment to breathe. Let it sink in, and if you're ready to go deeper into yourself, click subscribe and stay with me on this journey of awakening, because the next step begins when you decide to stop pretending. Thank you for watching.